Hi, I'm Bernadette Stanis. I played Thelma on the TV show Good Times, and I'm the next guest On Screen and Beyond.
On Screen and Beyond, an inside look into the entertainment world featuring interviews with people from the movie, TV, and music industry, news on upcoming TV and DVD releases, and the rumor mill. And now, here's the host of On Screen and Beyond, Brian Zemrak.
Today on Screen and Beyond is an actress who we've seen on The Love Boat, What's Happening Now, The Cosby Show, and currently on The Family Business and The Family Business New Orleans. She also has appeared in movies, written several books, and her latest book will be coming out this fall called Good Times. Ain't We Lucky We Got 'Em? Just in time for the 50th anniversary of the hit TV show Good Times, in which she played the role of Thelma Evans, it's Bernadette Stanis. Bernadette, welcome to On Screen and Beyond.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Well, Bernadette, it's so great to have you on here because you were such a big part of Good Times, and it's 50 years. I don't believe it's been that long. I don't know about you, but
I can't believe it either. I said, I'm older than that.
Well, you don't look it, I'll tell you.
Thank you.
You look wonderful. So, but it's just amazing how much of a impact that show made to people all over the world. Yes.
And when the show came out, I had no concept that it would ever be a show like this.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was just so happy to be there and got my first little job,
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Now, little job.
Yeah, then, I'm like,
Norman Lear.
Well, you know what? I didn't even realize the impact of Norman Lear or anything. I really didn't.
Yeah. Now, how old were you when they approached you to take the job?
18.
18. Now, how did you get the job? I mean, there's got to be a story behind that.
It was a beauty pageant, actually, Miss Black America, okay? And Hal Jackson, he was the owner of that. And so my mother said, they should have a teenage Miss Black America, And so she spoke with Hal Jackson and told him that. And the very next summer, he did have that. He had teenage Miss Black America. So because of that, I was in that. I became part of that show. And I begged my mom. I said, Mom, I really, really want to be in this. I really want to. She said, I know. So therefore, you're going to. And, being a girl from the projects and all, it takes a lot of money to be in those pageants, So Mommy bought the gown and the shoes and the dress and the bathing suit and everything. So every Sunday in that summer, we would go up to Manhattan, which is like an hour away from Brooklyn. So, and she would bring all the other 4 kids that she had, there were 5 of us. And so we'd all trape up to Manhattan. So the day of the pageant, the Sunday, was probably the last, about 6 weeks later. I get up that morning and I'm like, I don't think I could do this. I never won anything and I'm just not going to win. So I don't want to go. I talked myself right out of that whole pageant. So when it was time to get dressed to go up to the pageant, I tell my Mom, I'm not going. I don't want to go. My mother looked at me and she said, what are you talking about? Get dressed. Come on. We don't have she dismissed me. So I'm like, oh, no. I can't have her dismissing me. I really don't want to do this. So I finally, moved like molasses and got myself together. And then we walked up to the subway to go to Manhattan. Well, I'm still mad that, she made me go. So I'm like, I'm going to get an asthma attack. I'm going to get her. I'm going to get an asthma. Do you know I mustered up an asthma attack? I really, really did. Well, I do have asthma, but not badly. But I went, so I caught a wheeze, you know. And
Mhm.
so when I got off the subway, I said, Mom, I can't do it. My mother looked at me and she said, Bernadette, there's a drugstore on the corner. We're going to go get the Primatine Mist. You're going to take it and get on that stage. Okay, mother, I got to get it. I'll do it. So I went on and took the thing, went up there, can't beat her. So I might as well join and do it right. I get up on that stage, and it was that day that a manager saw me and came to my mom and said, we're looking for a teenage, we're looking for a young girl to play in a TV series. So he gave her the card. And so mommy said, okay. Well, that week we went up to CBS and we go into the waiting room for the audition. And I open the door and it's like hundreds of girls.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? But I kept thinking while I was sitting there, like my father always said, what's for you, no one can take from you. God has for you, nobody can take it. So I kept saying it to myself, okay, well, it's for me, I'll get it. It's for me, I'll get it. So I go into the audition with Norman Lear and Jimmy Walker at the time, and we auditioned. And I did not like the script, so I asked, can I improvise? I got nerve.
Wow.
I got a lot of nerve.
To Norman Lear.
I said, you know what? This doesn't sound right. Can I improvise? Norman said, okay. So I did. And he tolerated us, me a long time. So then I did my little part with Jimmy and got him going. But Norman laughed. So I guess we were cute. We were funny. And I didn't hear back from them for about a month. So I figured, well, okay, I guess I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Then I heard. Then they wanted me to go to California. Do that. Back and forth, back and forth. And then a month later, they called my mom and said, I was Thelma.
Wow. Geez.
Uh-huh.
Now, so for one thing.
And you know what I'm going to add to that? The lesson I got out of that was, don't let fear stop you from walking into your destiny. Because truly, that's all it was that day. I was afraid that I would never win anything.
Yeah.
And good times became my destiny.
And your mom.
And my mom, I saved her. Oh my God. I didn't win the big prize, right? I won second runner-up, right? First runner-up. And I didn't win the pageant. I won first runner-up. And I got my little trophy. It was a pretty big trophy. Mm-hmm. And I gave it to my mother. I felt so bad.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey. I said, Mommy, I'm going to make it up to you.
You look back and, as kids, we don't think that, they don't know what they're talking about or anything. But then later on, you realize that, they know something.
Yeah, they do know something, She said, she didn't say I was going to win or lose. She just said, no, you're getting on that stage and you're going to do what you have to do.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. That's incredible. Now, had all the cast had been brought together or already picked, or were you the last one?
I think so. No, I was probably the last one. And everybody was ahead of me. I mean, I was the rookie just getting in. Mm-hmm. I was just so happy to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, and I've had John Amos on the show in the past, and but the cast just seemed to
gel.
Mesh. Yeah, I mean, it was just it felt like a family.
It really did. And every Thursday on tape night, we did 2 shows. It felt, no matter what was going on around us, when we hit that stage, Esther was my mother, John was my father, Jimmy was my brother, Michael was my brother. You know what I mean? It felt like a family.
Yeah. Now,
really did.
Did the cast get along good? Was everything,
Well, we got along very well. There was some, interest about like JJ and, getting a lot to say and all this other stuff. All Esther really wanted and John, they wanted it to fit, like whatever he was doing or whatever, that it would blend in with the show, because Jimmy is a comedian, how comedians have their own thing, So we had to merge that together.
Was it originally intended
that JJ would be like
Jimmy? Yeah, Jimmy was going to be, sort of the lead.
No. But all comedy shows, there's going to be a runaway character.
Yes.
So Jimmy was the one runaway character. You know, everybody saw him as Good Times itself. But
Yep.
the star of the show was Esther Roll, and then John Amos, and
Mhm.
then, you know, that's how it fell.
Yep.
Yeah. But
Yep.
he just, you know, it was just something about him that, you know, kids could relate to, kids and people, you know.
Yep.
So, I mean, whatever it was, it just worked.
And like you say, most shows, there always ends up somebody that's
A runaway
in the
character. That's what they call
forefront.
it, like the Fonz.
Fawns,
Like the
exactly.
Fonz.
Exactly. He was never
Urkel.
intended.
Yeah,
Urkel.
no. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was the next door neighbor.
Yeah, that's it. You know, so I mean, those things happen, and we're happy that it happened because it added to the show.
Yeah.
Dynamite. It added to the show.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, you know, sometimes people, you know, everybody wants to be in the limelight,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
if somebody didn't show up as being the head one or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
you know, and the show fails, well, you've gained nothing. You know?
That's right. That's the way I say it. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
You know, I just was so happy to be a part of that show and to have JJ as my big brother and Michael as my little brother and Esther as my mom and John as my dad. I was just a happy camper.
Yeah. Do you ever see any of the old cast?
All the time. All the time. Yeah, my Michael and JJ, well, my Jimmy and Ralph, that's their name. We are always together. We do things together all the time, you know. And John does things with us too sometimes. He's doing very well. We just did a library where they honored us for the 50th year, and John was on the Zoom, you know. Yeah. And he spoke very well. That was just about a month or so ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And like I say, I can't believe that it was that long ago because, you know, I remember I watched the show all the time and it was like, you know,
it's like you don't believe it. It's like, wait a minute now. They're not supposed to be getting older. No.
Now, was that, I've talked with a lot of different people from shows, you know, from the 60s and 70s and things like that. And I know Gilligan's Island, they do not, or did not, you know, most of it passed, but they did not get residuals in anything. Now, had Good Times, was that after they changed and gave residuals, or was it before and nobody gets anything? After. That's good.
After we get residuals. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, I just can't imagine why that happens. I mean, you know, you look at some of these shows, I Love Lucy, and, you know, see these humongous shows, and they get nothing. It's
that was before they changed it, you know what I mean? That was before they changed it. And when they changed it, we were right on that curve there.
Yeah. Well, that's always good to hear. Now, I mentioned that, you know, you have a book coming out, right? In the fall. Yeah. Can you give us a little information on that?
Yeah. It's called Good Times. Ain't We Lucky We Got 'Em. It's Bern Nadette Stanis memoirs, America's Sweetheart, to that. I wanted to, for the 50th anniversary of Good Times, I wanted to be able to present this book about my point of view from how Good Times was for me, my relationships with the cast members, the producers, the writers, my, you know, on and off of the set. So, you know, for example, when I got to Good Times, I couldn't drive. Okay. You know, didn't need to drive in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. Yeah. New York. Yeah.
So, Esther used to pick me up. She and I lived like around the corner from each other when we first got on the show. So I was in this apartment and she was in the one around the corner. She would drive her little Volkswagen because that's what she drove. And she would pick me up every morning and drop me off home. So she and I had that one. Stories like when JJ, I used to bug him, you know, take me somewhere. You always going somewhere. Take me somewhere. So finally he said, I'm okay. I'm gonna take you to a comedy store. So he picked me up and took me to the comedy store. But in the comedy, I mean, when I got in the car, it was full of guys. I'm like, what? Okay. So I didn't mind that. It's fine. But it was Jay Leno. It was Freddie Prinze. It was David Brenner. I'm like, what? And then I sit in the car and all they did was shoot jokes at each other. I'm like, oh, this is boring, actually, So, I went to the Comedy Store. They're still, doing their little jokes and stuff, and then dropped me off. I said, this was the worst. This was the worst. I bet it was terrible. And so he said, well, that's what I do. That's what we do here.
Wow.
That was him taking me out somewhere.
Yeah. Had you ever thought of going on stage and doing a comedy stand-up routine like that?
Once I did think about doing that, but that didn't last too long. I didn't get up there and do it. I'm sure I would probably be not very good, but good enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just kept on writing my stories and writing my poetry, and that's what I ended up doing.
Yeah. Now you were a dancer too, right? Am I correct in that?
Yeah. I started out as a dancer first. I started out as a dancer since I was 5 years old. My grandmother put me in dance school and told my mother, "You keep her in dance, okay?" And that's what led to me, doing everything else.
Going on and on. Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. Now, with your dance, is that what you did for the pageant? I mean, everybody has to have a talent that they do. Is that what you did?
One of the things that I did was dance. Yep, I danced, and I was so happy that I was able to show my dancing ability even on good times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I danced the rent party. I danced to Native New Yorker.
Yeah. Wow.
So I was able to at least, give the world that.
Yeah. Was it filmed in New York or was it filmed in LA?
In LA, in Hollywood.
In LA.
CBS Studios. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
So,
but it looked like Chicago, but no.
Right. Yeah.
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 And I remember while we were on the set, I remember the first year of the show, Jimmy asked me a question. He said, I haven't had a lot of dates, but I'm going to have a date with this girl. And what do you do? What do you do to reel them in? I said, well, all I can say is that you should give a girl jewelry. Give her jewelry and she'll love you, And so he said, oh, okay. So for lunch, he goes over to Farmer's Market. Back then it was called Farmer's Market. Mm-hmm. And he buys some jewelry. But what he buys is this big medallion, turquoise and silver, back in that big old thing like that. I said, well, who are you dating, a Johnny? He said, take that thing back. I'm talking about fine jewelry, like really nice gold or
good stuff. Yeah.
Things like that, not that big old thing. So he laughs. So he goes back over there and he buys a little necklace, everything. He said, how's this? I said, that's what you give a girl. And to this very day, every girl that he dated, he buys them jewelry.
Wow.
It's great.
Good advice from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you have a favorite episode that comes to mind that you really enjoyed on the show? Do you have a favorite?
Well, I'm going to say the ones that featured me. You know that.
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, is there a particular one?
Yeah. Well, there are many. One I like was when I was getting married to the African prince. Remember him? eBay? It was a two-parter.
I can't remember that, to be honest.
Okay, well, what stopped us from getting married was the fact that in his culture, and he's really from Ghana or from Africa, they have wives, and I would be like the fifth wife, the new one coming in, okay. And I'm like, what? And the girl from the projects is going, no, one wife, and it would be me. And he says, well, Thelma, that's what he's called. Thelma, I can't guarantee that. Wait a minute. I said, no, that's not going to work in my culture. We don't do things that way. But, now that I look back at it, the men today, they have 5 wives. They just don't marry them.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
Yeah. Wow.
So, I'm like, oh, no. That was one of my favorites. Another one that was my favorite was when Penny, remember Penny was smoking and she put the cigarette underneath one of the pillows and it was a fire? Mm-hmm. Okay. I like that because then you get the version of everybody's story. And I played the witch in JJ's story. That's it. Yeah.
Was the cast lot of pranks going on, or was it a
No,
very
the only prankster we had was Walona. She would always pull a prank on us. She was the best. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's just amazing that show was such a change for television, really. And
Oh yes.
and
It was a big change.
Norman Lear did so many shows like that,
Yes,
just changing the whole atmosphere of what television was showing.
absolutely. That man was the guy that would push everything to the edge. He was like a revolutionist. You know what I mean? He made everything change. He just pushed the button, and everything was like reality. It was reality. Things that we would say then we cannot say now.
I was just going to say that.
We cannot do now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he changed everything in television and all. Now these days, I mean, it's so true. You have to be so careful. You have to be so careful because they'll write you off that way and write you off that way.
Exactly.
A lot to it, huh?
Yeah,
a lot to it.
Yeah, it's just and the thing is, everybody says he was a leader in television.
Yeah.
Like you say, you can't do that anymore.
No, he was a leader for that time. And it's like 50 years later, like we're going right back around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like regression, really.
Yeah. Just
but that's the way it is these days. And we have to, deal with that.
Yeah. Now you were on over 130 episodes of that show, right?
Well, I was on 129.
Oh, 129. Okay.
I was on every one except for one. And that one, you probably didn't even miss me on that show because so much was going on in that particular episode. But what it was when Penny's mother tried to set Walona up to get her daughter back. Do you remember that one? Okay, so that I don't remember it very well either because I wasn't there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they wrote me out the show, but I still got paid that week. So
yeah, right. That's good. That's good. Money for nothing. You can't beat that.
Right. I bet you a lot of people don't know that. They probably would say, what show was Thelma out of? Which one did she not be in? Because I was on. Yeah.
That's a good trivia question.
Yes, it is. It really, really is.
Yeah. Now compare Good Times with what you're on now. The TV show, the Family Business.
Family Business.
And Family Business.
Nene Duncan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How is it? Do you feel a difference in it? I mean, of course.
Oh, yes. Oh, much, much, much different because of the way they shoot the shows. It's like they give you the script, the whole script for the year, and then they tell you what scenes you're going to do. Mm-hmm. That's the Family Business and the Family Business New Orleans. And then they'll tell you which scenes you're going to do. And you prepare those scenes and you go right in. You do the camera blocking, and then you're doing the scene. Okay. Uh-huh. But when we did the episodes every week, it took us 1 week to do one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite different.
So it's different. Wow. I didn't realize that.
Quite different. Yeah. 1 week. Well, we would go in and read on Fridays. Monday we would stand up and do some blocking, do the blocking. For the director. The director would give us our blocking. And then on Tuesday, we're off script and we do a run through for the producers, writers, and all that. Wednesday, we go downstairs where the set is already set for us. And we do it for the cameras so they can know where we are and everything and the boom, And then on Thursdays, we come in a little later and we'll do makeup and all that. And then we'll run the show. One time we do a tape at 5:30, and then we do another tape of the show at 8. In between there, we'll have dinner.
Yeah. Does that have the same feeling of family? I mean, it's, it does. It's two different things. I know.
Characters. There's a big difference between Thelma and Nene now.
Right.
All right. Have you ever seen it? Nene Duncan is a sweet, lovely woman that loves her family. She has 3 kids and a husband. And the husband is a little little off the rocker because he takes his meds. He's a little kooky, but she loves him just the same. So what does it say about her? But she's sweet and love her family, but she'll shoot you in a minute.
I'm trying to think. I recently had somebody on. I think they were on that show. Patrick Duffy.
Two.
Is he on that show?
No, they're two. They're two family businesses. It's true. But the one I'm in is called Carl Weber's The Family Business. You got to put that before to get to the other one.
Okay, yeah. I know it's confusing because all these
it is confusing.
Just like NCIS and Law and Order, they've got New
They're
York,
same,
Hawaii,
right?
Miami, everything. It's like, oh, wow, where am I? Yeah, it's different because they don't.
It is different because if you do the family business, you're going to get a whole nother cast,
right?
Okay, and then when you do Carl Weber's family business, you're going to get a whole nother cast. So
wow,
you just got to know your stuff right there.
Yeah, and there's so much TV to watch now. It's like I used to be able to tell you every episode.
It's confusing. It's very confusing. I don't even really watch television anymore because of it. I just put something on and say, okay, these are the things I can choose from. Okay, let me choose that. And then that's it.
Oh, yeah. I know how you feel.
And you can watch the whole season like back to back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing really to look forward to.
Yeah. And now any TV show that's on now would love to have the audience, the number of people that watched Good Times, because it's not even close.
No.
I don't care which show you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's not close.
We only had 3 stations.
3 stations, yep. That was
NBC, ABC, and CBS.
Yeah.
Now you got the pick of the litter, baby.
Yep.
It's all so spread out that you can't keep an audience. You can't bring them back.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure it's frustrating because there's so many good shows that don't get seen because there's just too many. You know which one I always go to? Will and Grace. Will and Grace. Yeah. Well, I'm going to be asking you in my final question to you, which will come in just a few minutes here. That is, I'm going to ask what your favorite TV shows and movies are. So prepare yourself for that.
Oh my gosh.
But going back to your book that's going to be coming out, where can people get it? And can they pre-order it?
Yes, they can pre-order it. It's coming out in the fall. It's called Good Times, Ain't We Lucky We Got 'Em. It's memoirs.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get it at my website, thelmaofgoodtimes.com.
Okay. And any chance that is there going to be possibilities of getting autographs on them or not?
Oh, yes, I'm going to autograph them. I will definitely autograph all the books I sent out.
Yeah. Because I always get people always email me and say, we'll be talking to somebody about books or whatever they've got coming out. And they ask, can we get an autographed copy? Because
absolutely. Absolutely. I autograph everything.
Great. Mm-hmm. Well, Bernadette, I want to finish up with one final question. And I gave you a hint on this one, so it's not. But the final question, taking us away from Good Times, the 50th anniversary, your book coming out, the family business, Carl Weber's family business. Make sure I say that right.
Yes.
And just everything else we've talked about and you have going on. But when you sit back and relax, what are your favorite TV shows now and of the past? And what's your favorite movies now and of the past?
Okay. My favorite television show is Will and Grace. I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
With Jane Fonda. My favorite movie is Gone with the Wind.
Ah, classic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite. And it's passed down generations for me. Mm-hmm. My daughters watch it.
Yeah.
Whenever we want to feel, we watch Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
Scarlett O'Hara.
When you were on the show, or even before you got on TV, was there any special shows you liked and enjoyed watching back then?
Anything that Denzel Washington was in. I also like the show That Girl
That girl.
with Marlo
Yes.
Thomas
Yep. Yep.
because I imagined that she was me, I was her. We were together, that
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And then when I went to Juilliard, I spun around in that little circle thing that she
Right.
did. Oh, I did all that. I was that girl. You hear me? And so I ended up being that girl on Good Times. So that's okay.
Yep.
It
Yep.
happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Bernadette, I cannot thank you enough for taking time to share with us. And, I hope everybody goes out and gets your book, Good Times. Ain't we lucky? We got them. And, just enjoy you on the Carl Weber's Family Business and Family
Uh-huh.
Business or New
New
Orleans.
Orleans.
New
Uh-huh.
Orleans, yeah. And just everything you've got going on. Are there any other things before we go that you've got planned? Because it sounds like you're busy. So is there
Oh, I
anything?
stay busy. I love being busy. Let me see now. I paint. You know that? I paint.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did not know
That'll
that.
be doing that too soon.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you go to my website, I think some of my paintings that I had a little earlier there, you can see some of those too.
Ah, and that's at
Yeah,
thelmaofgoodtimes.com, correct?
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Well, Thelma,
I
Thelma,
enjoy
here I
everything.
am calling you Thelma.
That's okay. You know what? I have said that's okay. Everybody calls me Thelma. And when somebody says my name, Bern Nadette Stanis, okay, okay. But Thelma, no, 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 no. So it's always Thelma, and I have accepted it.
Yeah. It's funny because every time I interview somebody from when I was a kid watching TV, young kid, I always associate them with the character that they were playing. So, and I always try to fight to not call them that name and call
I
them their real
know.
names.
I know. And when people come up to me and they're doing book signing and everything, they say, "Oh, your name is still Thelma. Put Thelma down there. Put that. No matter how many characters I play, put Thelma down there." And I have to put Thelma of Good Times every single time. I'll never ever get away from that, and I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Bernadette, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing with us.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Brian. Thank you.